it was so well done. It was one of my favorite scenes. And to see that moment where I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
There it is.
Wow.
You don't have to do any more than that.
But everything ends someday. The discovery is my home.
So guys, it's an honor to talk to you here on your on this 5th season of Star Trek and the last one. I would love to know what has been the most rewarding aspects of portraying both your characters throughout the season. Maybe we can start with you.
Throughout all the seasons, the whole, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's really rewarding to get to play a character. I've never been a regular on a TV show before.
Oh.
So in our case, our characters really got to grow and change over the course of these seasons. So that in and of itself is extremely rewarding.
Yeah.
You know, that Paul still is in his head a lot. Like he's, you know, always obsessed with his science and ideas, but his heart has become bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And it's been wonderful to get to navigate all of that.
Yeah.
And to learn how to become a father and a better partner and all, you know, but that I got to do all of those different things. That's been incredible.
And it's funny because, you know, Dr. Culber started with a big heart and was very much about slightly in the shadow of his genius partner, you know, who had this huge project that was altering the universe and the way that we travel through it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, was standing a bit in the shadow, and then, you know, a life, pun intended, altering experience of dying and coming back to life afforded him an opportunity to create the kind of life that he felt he deserved. And so he had to choose everything over again, right? And for me, that following that arc, taking that journey with him where he really created himself into the person that he deserved, he felt he deserved to be, that he thought he could become, and that he realized in that process that his vulnerability was his strength, and that that was the thing that he could use to serve his crew in their missions. And I'm so proud of the man that, you know, that he ended up becoming, because you don't get to see that kind of soft strength portrayed a lot.
So guys, people who've never seen Star Trek before may not know that Star Trek Discovery is also a story about love. But I'd love to know, what other message do you find in this universe that may be hidden and not be seen, like in plain sight?
It's so interesting because I feel like Star Trek always wears its heart very much on its sleeve. It wears its mind and its heart on its sleeve. It says we are daring to always go for the believing in the best of people. You know, that we believe that you when you lean into that idea, you can find peace, you can find solutions. So I don't know, it's hard to imagine if that's not like under the surface, I suppose, because it's so much that. I do think the first season you know, our creators were like, we want to show this story, you have to earn that right to get there. That you go through a little bit of a darker path to get there. You go through a more conflict and trouble, a Starfleet that hasn't quite gotten there yet. But then you earn it. So, you know, for some longtime fans, I think at first they were like, what's happening? Because it is a little like they're not getting along as well. But it was because they knew you have to sometimes go through the darkness to get to the light.
Right. I mean, and I think one of the ways that was depicted was that every single one of these main characters at some point or another falls on his face or her face or their face. And they are given a second chance to become the best version of themselves. And we all need to know that, right? That our darkest moment, our biggest mistake does not define who we are. What defines who we are is the ability to get back up and try again and become better because of that. And I think that message is our legacy in the end.
You know, it's also, even though it's sci-fi and fantasy, we also have this human part. And talking about this human part and talking about love, I really enjoyed your love story in the series. It's amazing. But I mean, Paul and Hugh have proven to be supportive partners to each other throughout the series. But I would love to know if you have if you know a secret ingredient, or what do you think is the secret ingredient on maintaining a long-term relationship?
Well, I think that they really do allow each other to be their best selves, that they're not threatened in any way by each other shining in their, they don't share a lane too much. They're on their own paths in terms of their work, but there's no competition. I think that's one of the things, I think.
Right. Like we want the other one to succeed. We want the other one to shine. How do I help him achieve that, and vice versa? But the other secret ingredient, and I think it goes for how we work together, which is these two people are actually really great friends, and they like each other's company.
Yeah.
And so everything derives from that. I think there's a power in seeing how even ordinary this relationship is, right? Like, yes, they're a gay couple, but they could be any couple we see out on the street. It's not an issue that they're gay. It's what's important about them is that they truly love and respect each other, and kind of in awe of how brilliant the other one is.
Yeah, and also I think your relationship in real life also reflects a lot,
For sure.
on this series.
That was the basis for the entire thing.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, you can't invent that kind of history, chemistry.
Yeah. That's a lot of chemistry. Yeah. So for my last question, I would love to know, looking back to your time working on Star Trek Discovery, what has been, I know it may be hard to answer, but what has been your favorite moment or memory on set?
There's a lot. I mean, one of mine, there's so many, but one of them is the day that Blue Del Barrio came on set. Because we didn't know anything about Blue, just saw a picture, a little headshot, and this little, just graduated from drama school. And Jonathan Frakes, who's become a very dear friend, and he's also become a real mentor to me as I've been an aspiring director, and I was shadowing him. So I was on set with him, watching the monitor with him of Blue's first scene. Blue had never been on a film or television set before. Wow. Walks in and just kills it. And we're just standing together in awe of this young actor, just pure talent coming through, effortless. And I don't know if I knew at that point that we were going to become
because it wasn't even part of the story yet.
We didn't know that we were going to become a father figure to Blue. Wow. So looking back, that was that seed that was planted that day, and what beautiful fruit it bore is one of my favorite memories. There's so many more, but that's one.
Yeah.
I think, almost very similarly, I have a scene in season 3 with Tig Notaro, who is, she's a comedian, right? And so she's the first to tell you that doing scenes and learning lines is difficult for her, and she found it really challenging. And it was challenging for her. But we have this really sweet scene where her character reveals that she was married to a woman, and she's trying to relay to Hugh how important it is to value this relationship. But to see her, I mean, and I've said this to her, to see her in that moment become an actress.
Yeah.
She really understood that scene. She was incredible. She was so funny, and she was really moving, and it was so well done. It was one of my favorite scenes. And to see that moment where I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
There it is.
Wow.
You don't have to do any more than that.